Greetings, Father Joe here, wishing you a Merry Christmas. Today is Christmas Day, and we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. And I had a little bit of fun with my homily. I had the children's mass last night, and trying to give the kids an image or an analogy of Jesus. I said, well, everybody likes puppies. I like puppies. Gemma got a present. It took Gemma about, I don't know if you can see all that. It took Gemma about 20 minutes to open that present and just rip all of the stuffing out, as well as the squeak toy. But I said, everybody likes puppies. What if your family decided that you had originally planned that dogs would be members of the family, but the first dog was disobedient, but you wanted to save the dogs, and so you decided to come down as a dog to save the other dogs? Well, you're not going to come as a dog that speaks like a human being. That would be too much. And if you came as the biggest dog, the other dogs would simply cower, and so you would come as a puppy. Everybody loves puppies, right? So Jesus comes, Jesus who is God, who pre-existed his birth at Nazareth, came down to share in our humanity so that he could lift us up to share in his divinity. But imagine how difficult that would have been. If you, with us as kind of the Jesus role. And so, if we became puppies, how could you explain to dogs all the meaning of this? Your your vocabulary would be a little bit limited. Bow wow, rough. What's the other one? I had another one. Bow wow, rough, woof, woof, woof. Which, by the way, was a lot of fun because as we were coming out of church, I was greeting all the children by saying, woof, woof, Merry Christmas, or bark, bark, Merry Christmas. And so they responded in kind. But think about that. We would go and we would be a puppy and we wouldn't be able to explain things because dogs don't have words for that. But we would have to be a good, obedient dog. Because that's what dogs are. Dogs are dogs. They're not human beings. And so so we would come down. We wouldn't lose our humanity, but we would have Canaanity. We would have a doggy nature. But we would experience things in a way that the dogs didn't. When we were told, to not sit on the furniture or not piddle on the floor, we would understand that as a preparation for the fullness of being that we would have in heaven. And so Jesus, when he comes as a little baby, he's still God. In his human nature, he still has to grow up. There are things that he may know and things that he may not. But he's a real, true baby. But also God. And so this is the same Jesus who heals the sick, who gives sight to the blind, who opens the mouths and the ears of those who are deaf and dumb. This is the same Jesus who will be mocked, who will be threatened with stoning, who will be rejected, who will be beaten and scourged. This is the same Jesus who will carry his cross and die on that cross and rise from the dead. He chooses to become like us. So if we did this, we would not only become dogs, but we would need to be a dog who transcended the obedience or the rules of being a dog. Doesn't do us any good to come down as a dog and as a dog say, well, I don't have to follow rules because I'm a human being. That wouldn't help dogs. But you would have to do it in a way that told the dogs that their life was more than just fetching or sitting when told or, coming when called, whatever. Giving paw. Gemma's very good at giving paw. Gemma backs up. But these would be things that we would do, but we would realize that this was all preparation for something that was to come, to this greater existence. And so at Christmas, we realize that this baby is God. And when the shepherds came, remember, the shepherds had just seen hosts of angels who were singing glory to God in the highest, which, by the way, is where we get our Gloria in the Mass. That must have been incredible. Oh my gosh, the heavens are open and we can see angels and they're singing on high. And then they go to the manger and they see this little baby who probably wasn't that impressive. They believed that this was something special because of the angels. But would they have actually known that about him? Would they have been inspired by this? It might have seemed very plain and ordinary, even less than normal. They didn't even have a house. They're putting the baby in the little trough where the animals eat. And so something that seems quite mundane was the closest they had ever been to heaven. Think about that on Christmas. When you go to Mass, that is the most spiritual, the most mystical thing that can happen in your life. The shepherds might have been really bowled over by seeing all these angels. But the one true thing that gave everything else meaning, even though it didn't look impressive, was that baby. When we come to Mass each Sunday, and on Christmas, and on New Year, the Solemnity of Mary, the Mother of God, when we come to church, when we go to Mass, when we come into church and pray, we are at that intersection between heaven and earth, just as those shepherds were in the fields, just as the blind man was when he came to Jesus, or the woman who came to be healed from a flow of blood, just as the disciples were at the Last Supper, just as Mary was at the foot of the cross, just as all the saints and angels are in heaven. The most spiritual thing, the most profound thing that you do in your life seems like just nothing. We come into church, we say some prayers, we sing some hymns, we receive communion. We receive Jesus into our bodies, into our souls. And other things may seem more flashy, but there's nothing you can do this side of heaven that is more profound or is closer to God. So, Merry Christmas. When we think of this little ordinary baby, Merry Christmas, we experience God. God bless you.